How do there, chums? 'Tis I, Captain of the Steves, and today, chums, I'm doing a video on why I like to play No Man's Sky as much as I do. Now, I might do a follow-up video in the next few days on the things I'm not so keen on with No Man's Sky. But firstly, this is my praise of No Man's Sky and Hello Games. Hope you enjoy the video, people. So growing up in the 80s, I grew up on an Atari 2600, playing things like Asteroids and games like that of yesteryear. But not only that, on TV I enjoyed all the sorts of sci-fi sort-esque programs like Battlestar Galactica, and I was an avid fan of the movies such as Star Wars and even like the Star Trek sort of franchise. So yeah, I've always had an interest in space and space travel. I used to have a bedspread that was covered in like astronauty type stuff, which got soon replaced by Star Wars, admittedly. But yeah, always been into space, and even had space wallpaper as a kid and glow-in-the-dark stars all over my ceiling. The allure for space for me has always been about the unknown, and knowing that I was just a speck of dust amongst the universe. And it kind of puts things into a strange perspective, even when you're a kid, you know? Sort of trying to think of things that are bigger than you can fathom. And it's always intrigued me, and the fact that we can now venture onto these planets and put boots on the grounds on alien new worlds is fantastic. It's the game I dreamt of being a kid. You know, for Star Wars, I always wanted to see the next planet inside of the movies, what creature would frequent it. It's like as soon as I saw the Rancor and Planet Endor and, you know, Dagobah, and the differences between those sorts of biomes, so much different than from country to country inside of our own planet. The wonders of space just had that fascination, that intrigue. I started making video games with one of my friends, and I really started to think, wow, I really wish there was a space adventure game a little bit like Elite Dangerous. Now, I had Elite on the old Amiga, but you know, taking off and not getting scuppered by the police was pretty hard to do back then, or at least it was for me. But I still enjoyed the idea of a procedurally generated universe or galaxy to actually gallivant around in space. I mean, it didn't quite do it justice. I mean, it was very polygon driven. Now, there is Elite Dangerous out on the old PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 and PC that is pretty good, but at the same time it is too simish for me. Again, it's still quite difficult to traverse and just do the things I want to do, like explore. And even when you do explore an Elite, you're not going to put boots on the ground and say, oh my days, this might have a Rancor on this planet. No Man's Sky is the only game that gets close to that. I mean, there's still not much of a threat on planet surfaces. You're not going to come across something as terrifying as a Rancor, but you are going to find alien-esque type planets, and it does feel like you can just explore and put boots on the ground on alien worlds. And that's what I love about No Man's Sky, is the sense of adventure. And I love that seamless aspect of being able to go from planet to planet, and also to go to space stations, interact with NPCs, and then fly out and go back down to an actual planet, have your own fleet of freighters and frigates and all sorts of other shenanigans going on, 12 ships that you can own and upgrade. They all feel relatively different from one another. So yeah, No Man's Sky seems to have it all. So as you can gather, I had a little bit of a sci-fi geeky sort of upbringing, and that brings me straight into where we are now with No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky is the game that I dreamed of when I was a kid. You know, all these sort of influences that I had sort of culminate into what we have with No Man's Sky. It ticks every single one of those boxes of my childhood wants and dreams, and places it into a universe that we can jump into and experience, not only just in flat mode but also in PlayStation VR, and now PlayStation VR 2, which I've invested in, and I must say I thoroughly enjoy playing No Man's Sky in VR. It's a whole new level of experience, it really is. But some of my most favourite things inside of No Man's Sky to do weren't available at launch, such as the base building. The base building has added such a giant dimension into play of No Man's Sky, and so many of my favourite planets now have some of my favourite bases on them. And I love building sort of mecha structures like giant mecha dragons or mecha diplos and things like that, which are very me. Heck yes, I've even built giant R2-D2 bases. Yeah, so yeah, No Man's Sky has added in so much that weren't at launch, such as, say, owning your own freighter. Now you can own your own freighter. You can also have 12 ships on there, and it's like a portable garage in space. And you know what? I really enjoyed the Polestar expedition, where you start off on your bridge of your freighter, going around the universe doing the expedition. Yeah, that was brilliant. And the endurance update that brought in all the new base parts for your freighter. So having a mobile freighter in space is one of my favourite aspects, and also sending out the frigates on frigate missions and seeing them level up in an RPG-like fashion, which I was really hoping would bring in a lot more RPG elements into No Man's Sky. But as I say, got a video coming in the week where I'm going to touch on this in a little bit more and go into a little bit more detail on it. Heck yes. So keep an eye out for that, people in the viewerverse. Heck yes. Boom dilly boom. So something that really draws me back into No Man's Sky, though, is the multiplayer aspect. You know, there's so much that we can do in multiplayer, like the Friday weekend missions. I love running the Friday weekend missions with my chums. Really good fun, even if we do encounter bugs, so we have a bit of a laugh about it, which is great. And also, we've done player-driven events inside of game. So yeah, we've had like the Anvil meetup, where all the people with barrel-nosed droid-winged fighters turned up for an event that I organised, and we showed off all the different ship combinations. I'd love to do one of those again, but with the Sentinelized ships. Heck yes I would, but I've got to wait until the multiplayer is a little bit more stable until I can do said meetup. And talking of meetups, we've done a meetup in real life, and we've done them for the last 3-4 years or so, and it's been awesome to be involved inside of that and meeting fellow travellers in real life in UK. Heck yes. Got the meetup coming up in August of this year, 2023, in Guildford, a stone throw away from the Hello Games studio. I'll put a video inside the video description, but I also put one in the top right hand corner so you can go and check that one out. But yeah, awesome fun. So yes, the community aspect. The community aspect is amazing. I love doing live streams and premieres, and like seeing your sort of comments and feedback. And I like knowing that I'm making people smile and entertaining them with a game that I love to play. I mean, I have tried other games on my channel. I like Elden Ring, because I love the world of Elden Ring. Heck yes I did. But after I completed Elden Ring, it's not the sort of game I want to jump back in on. It's not as relaxing, and it's not as sort of immersive as No Man's Sky. Heck no. And yes, the community is very different. You know, you fall off a cliff on Elden Ring, you get trolled for a week. You fall off a cliff in No Man's Sky, it's like, yeah, I've done that before. It's a whole different community that you're streaming for. And the No Man's Sky community is by far the best community out there. And the fact that I've got members and active watchers and backers is just amazing. So thank you very much for all those that subscribed and liked and done all that sort of shenanigans and support my channel. Thank you very much. Massive thank you. Cheers. So I also do random portal investigations, usually on a Tuesday, where I hit up a random portal location and jump through to a random world and name creatures and planets and all sorts after the people inside of the live chat that are frequenting the stream. And that, again, is a very good laugh, and it's interactive. I like all the community interactive elements that No Man's Sky brings. And I did talk about the No Man's Sky meetup in real life, but we've done in-game events as well, like egg giveaways, or the Anvil Club meetups. So yeah, barrel nose fighters. I run an event once where everybody turned up in their barrel nose fighter with a droid wing, and that we showed them all off, just all the different sorts of androidy type winged barrel nosed fighters. And it was a great event. It really was. It was like a car show, but a ship show in space. I'm thinking about doing another one with Sentinel ships. If you like the idea of a Sentinel ship meetup event, let us know in the comments, because I would like to host one. Heck yes. But we'll get to that one in the reasons why I haven't, perhaps in the video later in the week, on the things that I'm not so keen on about No Man's Sky right now, because that's going to heavily feature too. So yes, watch that video, people in the viewerverse. So what have I enjoyed the most about No Man's Sky? I really liked it when I picked up my actual freighter, made my very first freighter base, and managed to send my frigates out on missions, and then seeing the frigates level up and getting them all the way up to S-class. A lot of my frigates started off as C-class, and I just wanted to see what sort of perks they got. But if they got damaged on sending them out on missions, boarding them to repair them was actually quite a fun element of play. I think the actual frigate mission sending and running of my freighter and traversing the universe in my freighter added a whole new dimension of play to me. The endurance update also showed that off with the actual expedition that they brought brought in with the endurance update, where you were flying around in your freighter as a freighter sort of commander, if you like. And I really enjoyed that expedition that came with it. Heck yes, I think it was called Polestar. I think Polestar is one of my very favourite expeditions for that one reason. And yeah, it gave a different dimension of play. And I think being a freighter commander, if you haven't invested in a freighter and using it as like your command ship for all of your ships, having it as like a space garage with a base staple to it, you're missing out. You need to get into freighters, you really do. But one thing I would say is getting the freighter. That was an interesting one. When I say an interesting one, it's probably going to be in my other video, because it was the tedious one. It took me about 3 hours to get the freighter I wanted. So now that I've completed No Man's Sky, unlike Elden Ring, where I don't really want to jump back in, with No Man's Sky there's always things to revisit, things to redo, and things to improve upon. And also, Hello Games are very good at putting out updates on quite a frequent basis, whether that just delivers in an expedition or something new to strive for inside the Quicksilver store. It's still things that we can do, and that seems to happen every 2 months now, so it's quite regular. So we've got that constant stream of new information coming in. And if it is a bit dead, we can just cover off what we're hoping to see, or expectations, or do videos like this. You know, there's usually some content for content creators to grab hold of and run with. It's like if you're a ship hunter, you can carry on hunting for ships. If you like multi-tools, you can hunt for those. But I also love doing photography in my downtime as well, and sharing images on the old Twitter space. Or right now I'm doing the Distant World Tours, which is a community-driven thing. And there's usually community-driven things you can get involved in, like giant hubs like the Galactic Hub, or you can join a Facebook group or a Reddit group, anything external, do things in game and share it with your little mini community inside of the verse. It's freaking awesome. Like I say, the community is one of the biggest things, but I think Hello Games helps drive that forwards with community showcases and spotlights, and Sean Murray retweeting out things from the community that he's seen. I do feel that they could be a little bit more vocal, which again, I will touch on that inside of my next video, people. So be sure to keep your eye peepers pilled eye peepers. Yes, awesome. So there we go, people. I think that's pretty much covered up everything that I love about No Man's Sky. But then saying that, I don't think it is. I'm fairly sure I'm going to end off this video and think, oh, I didn't mention that. Like companions. I love the pets inside of No Man's Sky. I love the Companions update when it first dropped, because it had me going across the universe, revisiting planets I'd been to before, and sharing coordinates with different pets and creatures you can have. So yeah, there's so much inside of this community. You can find your own niche. This is what I love about No Man's Sky, probably the most, is you find your niche. It's like if you want to be an explorer, there's a niche for that. If you want to be a hunter of multi-tools or ships or pets, there's a niche for that. You know, there's an opening for everyone and every sort of play style. There is no right or wrong way to play No Man's Sky. It's an open universe sandbox. Do what you like, people inside the viewerverse. And that's what I love about it. And also the fact that I get to smile every time I read your comments when I'm putting out content. And I know that I'm making people smile by making the content. It's like a perpetual cycle of happiness and fun times with ncaptainSteve. And you make all that possible. And I just thank you. Thank you very much, people in the viewerverse. Heck yes. And until next time, where I'll be doing the video where, you know, I'm going to be touching on some of the things that I'm not so keen on No Man's Sky, but I always give critical feedback. I'm not going to go off on a rant. This is going to be feedback that I hope could make a difference to the all-round experience of No Man's Sky. I'm just going to touch on the things that I feel have been broken for some time. And yeah, we'll get to that video anyway, people. I want to leave on a high note, so have a good one, people. Take care, goodbye, and goodbye again.